Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. What's holding you back? I mean, seriously, I get what's been holding me back for a long time. The idea that I just wasn't ready. The idea that it wasn't going to be perfect. Welcome to Storytime for the Apocalypse. My name is Brandon. That's what this is. And really for we can call it the pilot episode, if you will. No big stories to tell yet. Those are coming. But I want to impress upon anybody watching, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. If there's something that you've always wanted to do it. I get it. I understand. We can all come up with reasons and excuses for why we can or can't do something. But what it comes down to is just doing it. Something that I had heard probably about 4 or 5 years ago now. Someone had told me, done is better than perfect. And you think about that for a second, right? Done is better than perfect. Look, I feel like I'm the king of procrastination, that I will just continue to put shit off and put shit off and put shit off until finally something drags me kicking and screaming into doing it. Do you see me kicking and screaming? Is anyone dragging me right now? No. I am finally doing this, but I'm doing it for me. I'm not doing it for anybody else. I'm doing it because I feel compelled to. Look, I'm a storyteller. It's part of what I do. I enjoy telling stories. I've had a lot of experiences. It doesn't make me any better or different than anybody else. Everyone's got experiences. Everybody has stories to tell. Not everybody knows how to tell them. Again, that's not me trying to say that I'm better at telling stories than anybody else. No, I don't think that's the case at all. But I've had this idea in mind for 6 years that I've sat on this, right? Storytime for the Apocalypse. I've sat on it for the last 6 years. And if you think of the title, go ahead, deduce whatever you want out of it and why it's titled that. It's really my ability, my want to share some of my life stories with others. And if there's any major purpose, it's that I'm hoping that maybe it can be uh, a form of encouragement. Because again, everybody has stories to tell. Everybody's got a life that they live. And as far as we know, this is the only life that we get. This is the only chance that we get to live life and to figure things out as we go along. And done is better than perfect. Trying is better than just sitting back on the sidelines and not even giving it a go, whatever that is. Okay. And that's going to be the overarching theme for most of these stories that I'm going to tell, that I'm going to share. And they're going to be stories of, success, stories of failure, mistakes, lessons learned, a lot of different stuff over the course of, well, I'm 48 years old. I'm pushing 50 now. And I just can't allow myself to sit back and continue to wait for something to happen, some grand sign to come and say, okay, Brandon, now's the time to do it. No, I'm making that decision that right now is the time for me to begin story time for the apocalypse. Do it. Whatever's holding you back, do it. Just do it. Try. There was a time in my life where I was more than happy to take chances. And I get it. Again, anybody can come back, and I'm sure this stuff will line up in the comment section at some point, but anybody can go and say that, hey, I've always wanted to accomplish this or achieve this, but they'll find all the reasons in the world not to do it. For me, those reasons have never been failure. I've never been afraid to fail. I've never been afraid to lose. In fact, I'm well aware that I can learn a lot more from losing and from making mistakes and from failing than what I would ever learn in winning or, the achieving certain goals. I mean, yes, it's good to have goals. It's good to, it's good to pursue those goals. I'm not trying to discourage anybody from that at all. What I am trying to encourage is think about the stories that you have for yourself. Self-reflection, if you will, right? I've spent a lot of time in the last 10 to 15 years in self-reflection, just looking back on the different things that have happened to me in my life. A lot of the stories, again, a lot of the stories that I'm going to share are they're funny, they're in some cases extremely wild, where you're going to go, seriously? Like that actually happened? Yes, they're all true. Some are heartfelt, some are sad, some are angry, maddening. Some are maddening, if you will. But the important part to take away from this today, right now, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to fail. In fact, like I said, I'm not afraid to fail as much as I'm afraid of actually succeeding. I came to realize in the last couple of years that a big reason why I don't step out of my comfort zone being that of failure, that of less than, because that's what I've known the most, right? That's what I've been most comfortable with is being down here, not up here. Do I want to be up here? Sure, who wouldn't? Am I afraid of that? Scares the ever living shit out of me. Absolutely. Scares me to death, the idea of being successful, because it's the fear of the unknown. What comes after success? You have to maintain it. You have to keep going. Do I have it in me to keep going? I don't know. There's only one way to find out, and that's to just do it. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Find your stories. Tell your stories. I encourage you. I want to hear stories. I like to hear stories. I like to compare stories. Not in a sense that, my story is better than somebody else's or their story is better than mine. No, because that's how communication is done, right? Think of the cavemen. Back in those days when they were communicating by painting stories on the cave walls. And now we get to do it through this, the internet, the wild frontier that is Wi-Fi. So put yourself out there. Do the scary thing. You never know what's going to happen. And that's the biggest takeaway that I have in life in general. Story time for the apocalypse. Come back. There's going to be there are actually going to be stories. Again, we'll call this the pilot episode, but I sincerely encourage others to find your story. Tell your stories. Share them with others because we all have stuff that we want to accomplish and achieve and goals and dreams. And does that mean that we're going to accomplish and achieve all of them? No. But you can't be afraid to sit on the sidelines. You have to put yourself out there. So don't be afraid to do it. This is Storytime for the Apocalypse. I'm Brandon. Until next time.